Okay, we'll call tonight's City Council meetings Committee of the Whole to order. The council should have the minutes of the May 4th Committee of the Whole meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes are carried forth. This time, questions on the agenda for City Manager Crouch. Anybody from the council have a question on tonight's agenda?
I don't have anything on tonight's agenda, but I do have a question for the city manager.
Sure, go ahead, Chief.
I know last committee of the whole I brought up the Cox Road widening and restriping, and currently it's set to have 2 traffic way lanes and 2 bike lanes on one on each side of the road. But I've been talking to a lot of my constituents, and I've yet to find someone that agrees with that. That actually travels the road out there quite regularly. And they all feel, as I do too, that it would be better and it would be safer to have 3 lanes, one of which would be a turn lane it would go from Longleaf to Veterans, and then from Longleaf to, the 3 lanes would go from Wire to Veterans, but from between Longleaf and Wire, you have a multi-use path, which is great. We're looking forward to that, but I just think it would be safe for everybody involved, including bicyclists, to have the turn lane in the middle and 2 traffic lanes on each side. I'd like to discuss that at the next committee of the whole meeting, if that's possible.
Okay. So if the council okay with that, we'll set time at the next meeting, which is June the 1st, during the committee of the whole, and to have a discussion amongst the council about this topic.
Yes, sir.
Is that okay? Megan, what will we need to do? 6:45, 6:30, potentially?
We'll set the time. Let me talk with City Engineer Frazier about it. And the other thing that we have to warn, we do have an active contract on this, and we need to check with the contractor to see where they are. I will be very frank. We are all clear. It's not a fast-moving contract at this stage. So I'm not confident that it would be striped prior to the next committee of the whole meeting, but I need to be sure, and we have some coordination and contractual obligations with them. So I'll do some checking, and if there are any issues you need to know about and this needs to be discussed sooner and the council's willing, I'll let you know.
Okay.
And let me add, I appreciate the staff's patience with that project. I know it's been a trying one, but and they worked really hard on it, but we just feel like we're better suited with the 3 lanes.
Certainly understandable, and we appreciate the patience of the residents out along Cox Road as well. It's been a challenging project, but a very necessary one.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the council have any type of comments or questions regarding tonight's agenda? Okay. City Manager, is there anything we need to know tonight? Is any changes?
No, we have no changes to the agenda. On the agendas that you see, there's a minor change. It says on item 8B that there is a retail beer off and on premise only. It's an off premise only. Your agenda item is correct. The agenda item lists it incorrectly. So both the beer and the wine retail liquor license requests are for off premise only.
Okay. Is there a move to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Committee of the whole is adjourned. We'll start the city council meeting in about 2 minutes. Okay, we'll call to order tonight's Auburn City Council meeting for May 18th, 2021. Roll call. Lindsay?
Dawson,
Here.
Here.
Griswold,
Here.
Hovey,
Here.
Parsons,
Here. Present.
Taylor,
Here.
Fitton, Anders.
Here. Would you please rise for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. In Mayor's announcements tonight, during the Committee of the Whole, we did have a discussion about setting aside time at the next City Council meeting on June the 1st, potentially to discuss Cox Road and the striping of Cox Road that Councilman Dawson brought forward. So we'll bring more information about that later. Under Mayor's announcements tonight, I just wanted to I've got a few things I wanted to go through. There is going to be a hospitality job fair that will be held on May the 25th at the Magnolia Room at Southern Union State Community College. There's two different time slots from 8:30 to 10:30 and 3:30 to 5:30. With a number of our industries and sectors really nationwide, and I was at a meeting of the League of Municipalities last week in Huntsville with a lot of other mayors. This is a trying time for a lot of business owners as they try to find people to come in and work. And so this is an opportunity for the hospitality industry to show their wares and do their own recruiting in a set-aside time. So if you're interested in doing that, we encourage you to attend. Speaking of tourism, we did have an AO Tourism Board meeting just a few weeks ago, and they reported that things are looking up. This has been maybe the area that's been hit the hardest through COVID and has come back the slowest, but things have been promising in the last couple of months. The report was for A-Day and Auburn University graduation were very healthy weekends in the area. We had great, beautiful weather as well, and so that's positive news regarding the hospitality industry. Also had an airport meeting a couple of weeks ago, and there's a lot going on at the Auburn University Airport. They're looking at more hangar space and potentially an air traffic control tower, a new one out there. They're looking at the evaluation of a safety zone, and the student program that is facilitated at the airport is really growing. They're expecting over 100 more students this coming year, so things are really going well out there at the airport. Graduation is this Thursday night for both Auburn High School and Lee Scott Academy, and we congratulate all the young people and their families for making it through a difficult year and getting to the point where they're going to graduate on Thursday night, and we're certainly proud of all of them. We certainly hope Auburn High's graduation is partly a celebration, too, as the baseball team is playing for the state championship again. They play a single game tomorrow at 4 o'clock and then maybe a doubleheader on Thursday morning in Montgomery. And congratulations to Coach Semo and all the players for having another outstanding year. A couple of weeks ago, this area was hit hard by a number of storms. I just want to say thank you to our city staff, Public Works, Public Safety, Environmental Services in particular. Megan, if there's some others that need to be mentioned, let me know. Certainly our friends at Alabama Power who had to work long hours into the night, into the next day to try to get everybody's power on to make all of our roads safe. We even had a fire station that was hit hard by this that we've got an action item on tonight, but it was a tough storm. We had a lot of hail and a lot of wind, but I just appreciate all the people who did all that they could to get Auburn back running again the next day. And thank you all the parents for their patience. We had a school that didn't have power for most of the day. We just appreciate everybody working together to get Auburn back running. Auburn 2040, we've got a kickoff date, which will be July the 15th. That is in the middle of the summer. We'll kick off on a Thursday evening at 5:30. That'll be held at Auburn High School's auditorium. The portal to re-sign up for your team will be open this Monday, so go to the city's website. We remind you again that if you signed up the last time, that doesn't work now. You'll have to go back through the process and sign up again. So please go back through if you're interested in participating in Auburn 2040 and sign back up beginning on Monday. That portal will be open for about 3 weeks. And then our Memorial Day ceremony again this year will be different than it has been traditionally in Auburn. We've always had a wonderful breakfast where we've recognized outstanding veterans who have served us for many years and that are a representative of the Auburn community. We will have an abbreviated ceremony at the Veterans Memorial on Memorial Day at 9 o'clock, and it's certainly open to the public, and we invite any of you to come. It'll also be streamed live as well. And that is all the announcements I have for tonight. And any other council representatives that have an announcement?
Mayor, I have an announcement.
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Parsons.
Tomorrow, here in the municipal building in the courtroom, the Public Safety Department will be holding a ceremony honoring the fallen heroes of our public safety, of our police force. The public are welcome to attend. There'll be representatives from Opelika's police force as well as the fire department, and I look forward to seeing you there tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Anyone else on the council have an announcement they'd like to make?
Yes, I have just a reminder.
Sure.
Announcement about the Unsung Hero Day at Martin Luther King Park this Saturday, May the 22nd, and it's going to start at 10 o'clock a.m. We will be having a ceremony to celebrate the unsung heroes, and that ceremony will start at 12 noon, and it should go on about an hour. And the public is invited, so I ask everyone who wants to come out and enjoy that day, that awesome day of fun, family. We'll be playing games and all kind of different activities and stuff. So it's just a reminder of anyone who would like to come.
Good. Thank you, Connie. Anyone else on the council have an announcement? Okay, we'll close down this point of our agenda and we'll move into Auburn University communications.
Hello everyone, thank you all for having me again. Some things that have been happening on campus lately. It is summer, so most students are gone, but summer classes have started, or they're starting tomorrow, so some people are moving back into campus today for that. The College of Human Sciences just marked a huge construction milestone on the Tony and Liberating Culinary Science Center, which is on South College Street. And Governor Kay Ivey actually attended this event and noted that it was going to be a huge center for tourism when it is completed because it is a world-class facility, so we're really excited to have that on our campus. Auburn has extended the third phase of its COVID-19 vaccine distribution plan, so now it's widened to people 12 years and over in the community, so 12 years and older can get vaccinated through Auburn University. Next, the Jewel Collins Smith Museum of Fine Arts is actually going to have a celebration on Thursday, May 20th at noon, a send-off for their traveling exhibition that they're having right now, which is Bernini and the Roman Baroque. So it's going to be a fun day of family-friendly events, fun and games. So hopefully the weather will be good for that. Next, Camp Regal freshman orientation actually starts next Monday, May 24th. We've been working really hard for it all semester. We have a lot of people coming to campus, so we're really making sure that we do it within COVID guidelines. And then there's also a virtual option for people to choose. So we're really looking forward to meeting the class of 2025. And then lastly, student government representatives, including myself, are really looking forward to city breakfast with you, Mayor Anders, on Friday. And really, we're excited to continue the relationship between the city and the university. So thanks. That's all I have, and War Eagle.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you Friday morning. Okay, we'll move into citizens' communications on items on the agenda. Remember, this is just items on tonight's agenda. We do have a number of items that you might want to speak to that do have public hearings attached to those. If in fact that is the item you'd like to speak to the council on, I would ask that you please wait for that public hearing to address the council. But if there's anything else that you would like to speak to the council on items on tonight's agenda, please come forward and give your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to speak. Okay. Seeing no one, we'll move ahead. City Manager's communications.
Mayor, I have no additional communications. Are you ready for the consent agenda?
We are.
All right, our first item of business is the consent agenda itself. Does any council member wish to remove an item from that consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
Yes, please. I'd like to remove item 8 Delta 3, 8D3.
Anyone else on the council? Okay, we'll start with 8D3.
Item 8D3 amends a commercial development agreement with Twister 5062 LLC to waive an event of default for failing to complete remaining capital improvements to an undeveloped parcel and to remove any further deadlines for completing such improvements.
Have a motion?
So move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Questions, comments? We'll start with you, Mr. Griswold.
Well, thank you. As I understand it, this firm this will be the second request for waiver for this development agreement. And seeing as how we normally don't allow more than one shot when we're doing a tax-related item for such as a penalty or something like that, I'm a little unclear as to why we are reaching out and going to once again extend this and keep them from entering default on the agreement.
Ms. Crouch, do you have a response for that?
Absolutely. There's a memo in your packet from this firm. They'd actually sent one 2 weeks earlier as well, and they're requesting, they had a project ready to go, and this is, for those of you who are unaware, this is actually involves the Walmart neighborhood market at Opelika Road and East University Drive. And years ago, when this development was approved, there was a former Kmart that was sitting vacant on the site, and the city had just finished up the Renew Opelika Road plan. We were losing tenants at the mall. We had a lot going on, and there was some interest in this building, but only an interest from it being a storage facility and being a fitness center and not redeveloped, and the building was in pretty dire straits. So the city got very proactive, and a development firm became very interested in not placing just one, but two Walmart neighborhood markets in Auburn. One would go at Opelika Road and East University Drive, and the second one would go at North Donahue and Shug Jordan Parkway. The goal was the city did not want to incentivize a freestanding grocery store at North Donahue and Shug Jordan Parkway, but we definitely felt Northwest Auburn was not well served in the grocery realm. So part of this deal was if the company would take down the property, put a Walmart neighborhood market with enhanced architecture on Opelika Road and East University Drive and match that identical project at North Donahue, and it's not written in the agreement, but this is just part of what was discussed. North Donahue and Shug, the city would proceed with a $1.5 million incentive over 10 years, $150,000 a year maximum rebate. Well, what's happened and what Councilperson Griswold's referring to, it's actually been extended twice. This would be the third time. And the first time was a 6-month extension, and they came back to us and said, we're still working. This out parcel is between a thrift store and the existing Walmart neighborhood market and not highly visible from the road, and they were working some projects that they didn't happen. So they asked for a second extension of 18 months. In the second extension of 18 months, COVID happened. They were actively working, and I'll be happy to divulge a container park, which if you don't know what a container park project is, it's a multiple shipping containers. It had to meet very specific city requirements because we actually don't allow metal to be exposed and some other things, working fast and furious prior to the COVID shutdown to bring this project to fruition. That did not happen. It's like pulling the plug out of the bathtub or something in COVID. Everything kind of drained out and financial markets got a little bit tight. So they did not proceed. And so what their request is they would have been willing to have another time frame on this, but staff felt very strongly that they've attempted for some time to develop this. They delivered what they said they were going to deliver, not just one, but two Walmart neighborhood markets. And that's why we were willing to put this on the agenda and recommend that you consider waiving this event to default completely and then ultimately removing the requirement that they ever have to develop that out parcel. If they don't develop it, they don't get any tax rebate from it anyway. The Walmart neighborhood market has been extremely successful, and we are 5 years into that development agreement. So they've been receiving tax sharing revenue for 5 years now.
Thank you.
And the tax sharing revenue that they have already received, the incentive to date, they don't lose anything of that, right?
That's correct. Once that is
Going
given to
forward.
them the way the agreement is written, should you default, they don't have to refund. When you default, and ultimately an event of default, if not waived by the council, city council would de facto eliminate or cancel the agreement completely. And so they would be in default and the agreement would be ended if you don't waive this event of default.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
The only portion that's not been developed under the original plan was that corner lot, the Walmart, the NTB, everything else. I mean,
Yeah, it's the lot that sits between the thrift store and the Walmart neighborhood market. And part of the reason that was ever put on them, we don't have any other agreements quite like this one, and we put this on them to compel them to try to get the entire site redeveloped. And also because our policy at the time was we don't do standalone grocery stores. So we expect you, this is on Opelika Road at East University Drive, and that's great, but we expect you to develop more than just a grocery store on this site. And you just did a Publix deal elsewhere, and that involved Publix and small shop space. We consider that more like a shopping center. So that's also why we did not want to invest in the one in North Donahue. I think it's also important that you understand the prototype that was going to be used was a very different looking prototype than one we effected architectural change on, and it directly benefited the Donahue store as well, which is important to the city staff at the time.
And I know we're pretty strict on our incentives, and we want to hit metrics. I mean, how would you gauge the success of this development, sans the one undeveloped lot?
And it's been wildly successful, and we have what is a new-looking development, heavily landscaped, up to a much improved architectural standard compared to if I showed you the before and afters of this site, and we do keep all those in a file. It's a market improvement out there and welcomes you to, that is actually the busiest intersection in Auburn. You're moving 50 to 60,000 cars a day through that intersection, so it was critical to us that we actually have, if you look carefully, we have 4 redeveloped corners, not just 1, but 4. And that intersection was in dire straits before we got started with this program, and that is a very busy intersection, and we made market improvement and investment there, and decorative mast arms, double left turn lanes, all kinds of things to make that a better flowing intersection and aesthetically better.
Megan, would you say that the facility they have on North Donahue and Shug Jordan has been successful and has met a need in the Northwest Auburn community?
Absolutely. That's our largest growth quadrant of the city. If you consider Highway 14 to North College Street like a piece of a pie, and look at that whole quadrant, that is by far in this last decade the largest growth area in Auburn by a long shot, and there was no grocery store in that area at all, so you were requiring people, yes, Publix had come along, but you're requiring a lot of people to drive even further, and the goal with grocery stores is to serve neighborhoods and regions of the city, and we're always actively working to do that. We don't want people to have to commute any further than they should, than they need to get to a grocery. And before Publix was in, and before that was in, we had Kroger, and some people in that area were driving to Winn-Dixie because they had nowhere else to go. So now we have 2 Walmart neighborhood markets, generally a little bit closer, and a Publix. So. But I also think it's important just to note, we also built a sidewalk at the same time. The city made sure a sidewalk got installed as part of the Shug Jordan Donahue project to make it walkable for residents of Northwest Auburn. We also have housing authority properties nearby, and we were very interested in being sure we made it as accessible as possible, even though it sits on a very busy 4-lane road, that people could walk there if they needed to.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. I have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda is approved.
All right, council, under ordinances this evening, procedurally, we're going to be moving mildly different than usual, so just bear with me. We've got some actions going on. We have an applicant requesting a number of postponements, so I'm gonna mention that to you along the way, but if somebody is not certain, just stop me and ask what's going on. It's no big deal, other than the first 4 items under ordinances, the applicant is requesting postponement, so we're gonna run through these, and I'll explain that along the way. So under ordinances this evening, item 9A1 is a request from Hubert Boatwright to annex approximately 1.76 acres located at the northeast corner of Cox Road and Interstate 85. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its April 8th, 2021 meeting. The applicant is requesting postponement of this request to the June 1st, 2021 City Council meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and move to postpone to a date certain of our next regularly scheduled meeting, June 1st.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the council regarding this motion? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Lindsay, roll call?
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
One other thing, I'm about to make an additional statement, and we're going to be doing this with ordinances coming up. We want to be very deliberate with the public and everybody to understand that we have now passed through first reading of this item. So when it comes back up June 1st, there's no confusion, so I'm going to read a statement after these also. Let the record reflect that Councilperson Hovey has introduced this ordinance for its first reading to the council tonight, and we will have a vote on it at the next council meeting.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the next item?
We are.
Item 9A2 is a request from Harry and Allison Painter to annex approximately 33.47 acres located at the northeast corner of Cox Road and Interstate 85. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its April 8, 2021 meeting. The applicant is requesting postponement of this request to the June 1, 2021 City Council meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce this ordinance too and move to postpone it to the date certain of our next meeting, June 1st.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from the council? Hearing none. Lindsay with the roll call.
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect that Councilperson Hovey has introduced this ordinance for its first reading to the council tonight, and we will have a vote on this at its next council meeting. Item 9B1 is a request from Gonzalez Strength and Associates on behalf of Hubert Boatwright to rezone approximately 1.76 acres located at the northeast corner of Cox Road and Interstate 85 from rural to comprehensive development district. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its April 8, 2021 meeting. The applicant is requesting postponement of this request to the June 1st, 2021 City Council meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary. A public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the ordinance and move to postpone this ordinance to a date certain, being the next regularly scheduled meeting, June 1st of 2021.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. At this time, Megan, do we open the public hearing?
Mayor, I would like to recommend that you consider holding it to the next meeting, since that is when you would act on it. But if the council is so compelled, you may also open the public
Okay.
hearing this evening.
So if the council is okay, we'll delay the public hearing until the next meeting when we actually vote on this. Okay? All right, is there any discussion from the council? All right, Lindsay, roll call.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
Let the record reflect that Councilperson Smith has introduced this ordinance for its first reading to the council tonight, and we will have a vote on it at the next council meeting. Item 9B2 is a request from Gonzalez Strength and Associates on behalf of Harry and Allison Painter to rezone approximately 33.47 acres located at the northeast corner of Cox Road and Interstate 85 from rural to comprehensive development district. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval at its April 8, 2021 meeting. The applicant is requesting postponement of this request to the June 1st, 2021 City Council meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary and a public hearing is required.
Introduce the ordinance and ask that I move to postpone to a date certain, that date certain being June 1st of 2021.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. At this time, we would normally go into the public hearing. If it's all right with the city council, we'll postpone the public hearing until June 1st as well. At this time, is there any discussion or questions from the council? Hearing none, we'll take the roll call. Lindsay?
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, one last time. Let the record reflect that Councilperson Smith has introduced this ordinance for its first reading to the council, and we will have a vote on it at the next council meeting. That is the end of those postponement items, and for the general public, those all have to do with the Buc-ee's project, and it is for good reason that it just needs to be delayed on the zoning actions until June 1st. So moving forward, item 9B3 is a request from Joel Funderburk on behalf of JTF Properties Incorporated to rezone approximately 0.41 acres of property located at 601 and 603 Harper Avenue and 306 and 308 Summerhill Road from Development District Housing to Medium Density Residential District. The Planning Commission recommended denial of this request at its April 8, 2021 meeting by a vote of 5-4. Unanimous consent is necessary. A public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
A motion and seconds. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing or hearing none, we'll open up the public hearing. If you'd like to speak to the city council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record.
My name is Tammy Funderburk. My address is 2418 Snows Hill Road, Auburn, Alabama. My husband and I have owned this property for over 20 years. It's located at 601, 603 Harper, and 306, 308 Summerhill. We have asked the zoning change to bring our property back in compliance from the last zoning change. There are 2 units per lot, and the new zone will not change that. 2 members of the zoning commission said that this is spot zoning. The planning director told them it wasn't. This property is located directly adjacent to the zoning we are asking for. So all we are asking is that you do as the planning department suggested and approve this zoning.
Thank you very
Thank
much. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the council? Okay. We'll close the public hearing. Any discussions or questions from the council? Anyone?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Griswold.
Okay, this was just rezoned in March of 2019 after an extensive process for that entire area rezoning. It doesn't seem like there's much permanency in our zoning, and if this is indicative of it, then our public has a difficult time figuring out just what they're supposed to do if the zoning is going to change in a short period of time. One of the Planning Commission members even referred to this as a convenience rezoning. I understand that they're going to replace the 2 units that are there with 2 other units of a larger size, which are currently non-compliant due to the size of the lots. Is that right?
Yes, and I can have the acting
Okay.
planning director answer further questions if you need.
Okay,
Um,
is that right?
The lots are of the right size,
For the new development?
correct. They just don't meet the density.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. All right, and duplexes are already permitted in DDH.
They are a conditional use.
Okay, so instead of rezoning, could this not be just continuation of conditional use?
No, because the density of DDH is 5.5 units an acre. These lots are 2/10 of an acre, so they're only allowed 1 unit on the lot.
Okay, so the lot size is one of the determining factors for,
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
okay. All right, and DDH allows for 2 unrelated occupants. Is that right?
I'm sorry.
DDH, you can only have 2 unrelated
That
in a
is correct.
DDH?
Yes,
Whereas if we proceed with MDRD, that's 5 unrelated.
that is correct, yes.
So in theory, this could become ADDUs or other type of structures.
Actually, in MDRD, the residential units that are allowed by right are single-family, 0 lot line, townhouse, twin house, duplex, and cottage housing development.
Okay,
ADDUs and multiple unit developments are conditional
okay. So, all right, so in theory, that could happen, I guess.
possibility.
But the difference to me is going from 2 unrelated to 5 unrelated in this, what has been a single-family residence for a while. Okay, so that's my issue, and so I can't support this request for rezoning, and would like to go along with the Planning Commission's recommendation to deny it.
Sir, no, sir, no, sir. We can't allow you to talk. No, sir, you're out of order. Okay, does anybody else on the council have a?
Megan, when we're considering a rezoning, what are we allowed to consider? What are the parameters council's allowed to consider in a rezoning? What's going to be potentially built there, or what are our parameters there?
Your general parameters are whether or not it's appropriate for the area based on mainly usually land use plan, as well as recommendations of circumstances. I think I'd like to have our acting planning director explain a little bit more about the study in 2019 and why this would not have been, why was this not suggested to be MDRD in 2019 when that study took place. And I think that the council's got to consider one other item is the planning staff has signaled directly they intend to study this area immediately. There are other parcels, and it's also in a little bit about it in your packet. There are other parcels on Summer Hill that have the same situation. And one of the challenges that we have here is these duplexes, if you've been by, are in need of some change. And one of the challenges when you have something considered non-conforming in an area is when you go to improve it and the valuation exceeds, the value of your improvements is more than 50% higher of the existing valuation. So if they're worth $200,000 now and you want to put $101,000 in them, you can't do that. So it actually makes it very difficult for a developer to come in and invest money to actually spruce up, enhance, do whatever, because they run into a valuation clause and a nonconformity. And I can have Katie go into a little more of that, but that's part of the challenge with all of these properties. Is that correct, Katie?
That is correct. There are 9 duplexes in the area. 6 of them, or 5 of them, are directly on Summerhill. They were built between 1960 and 1979, and so they are a little long in the tooth. When the performance zoning ordinance was put in place in '84, they were given the zoning designation of NC 5, and they sat as single family in a single family zone since then, in the hopes that it would one day redevelop to a single family home, but that has not happened. So it makes sense for this area to be a transition from the higher density multiple unit development area on the other side of Summerhill to allow the duplexes to remain and be improved adjacent to the single family residences to the east.
Now, the planning department recommended approval, but commission did not. Do we have an idea of the difference, why they?
So it was split on the higher side being no, but it was recommended to approve with the foresight of going back later and looking at the area around it to make a change to rezone those existing duplexes to MDRD, especially those along Summerhill. Like I said, we haven't, or like City Manager Crouch said, we have not gotten to review and revisit that area again, but we do plan to do so to see if it makes better sense to revert that back to a zone that would allow duplexes to be improved and remain as they are.
Is that the reason for the denial on the planning commission?
They were split. Some of them wanted to wait and zone all of it at one time instead of going ahead and approving this and then coming back and city initiated rezoning for the others. But staff's approach was we didn't want to hold them up from going ahead and improving those that they own when we were just probably going to recommend that it change staff initiated in the future.
And that was going to be my question. Do we know that even if a study is done and however long that will take? I know there was originally a Harper Avenue study.
It was, and that was in, I think, the spring of 19.
And that hasn't been completed yet, has it?
No, it has.
It has, okay.
It has, yes. This area was NC.
Okay.
And was changed to DDH.
So we don't know today whether or not, if we get that study, that the recommendation is going to be exactly the rezone that the applicants are asking for.
MDRD would be the most appropriate.
Okay,
in
so
that
what they're
area.
asking for would be the most appropriate.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a timeline for staff going back to review this
I
in
do.
your calendar?
I do not, but it would be probably sometime this year, if not sooner. We have the 5-year update for the comp plan coming up this year, so I would imagine it would be prior to that.
What type of time frame do you anticipate it requiring once you do a review and surveying or?
I wouldn't suspect it would take too very long.
Weeks?
2 months,
2 months?
maybe.
And Katie, how many parcels versus units is it?
There are
5?
9 duplexes total.
So it's 18 units and 9
right.
parcels. So not a lengthy study. We'd have to look at the work program for the staff, but that could be accomplished in a reasonable time frame. And I was also listening to that particular planning commission meeting, and my impression was exactly the same. The planning commission was just very split on whether or not to study the whole thing. That seemed to be why you don't usually see that level of split vote among planning commissioners, and it was the struggle for them was whether or not to study the whole thing, or if staff is recommending and feels they're going to recommend, MDRD moving forward, then there was this notion among the ones who voted on the side to allow it to move forward was, hey, if we're going to change this, then here we are. But that's certainly up to the council's pleasure what you want to do.
But in summation, the denial wasn't because it wasn't appropriate. It's just because we want to do a study.
Yes.
And that study may end up telling us the exact property zone is appropriate.
Correct.
Okay.
Those who voted in favor of denial, was my impression that we were putting the cart before the horse. Procedurally, the study traditionally has gone first, and for all intents and purposes, this has the appearance of spot zoning.
I would disagree, simply because there's MDRD on the other side of Summerhill.
Yep.
And it's not like it's in an island by itself.
Right. Thanks.
When you say there's 9 units or 18 residences, you're talking about the entire area that's currently zoned DDH. Everything is yellow on the chart. Is that what you're talking about?
No,
You said there
sir.
was 5 on Summerhill.
Correct. There are five lots on Summerhill, each of those containing a duplex. So there are 10 units.
Oh, I thought you said there were 9, so there are 10
Well,
units.
Sure.
Okay.
The 2 lots on Florence, one being the corner lot on Summerhill and Florence, and the one adjacent, those 2 are both duplexes. The 4 to the south on Summerhill are duplexes,
The south of what?
south of Florence on Summerhill.
Are there any single-family homes on Summerhill between Harper and Old Stage?
Between Harper and Old Stage. I do not believe so, no.
On the area zoned already MDRD, yes.
No, I meant on
Right, on
the,
this side, no.
On this side, no, correct.
Okay, well, I kind of have to agree with Mr. Parsons. It certainly appears that we're just cherry picking 2 lots out of a whole DDH area. And if we're going to do that, I think we ought to take a look at the process that we've used in the past and make sure that we're doing something deliberate instead of just, again, cherry picking 2 lots out of a whole area for rezoning. So,
Any other comments from the council?
When was the last time this property was received any renovation? Do you know?
I do not know that.
Been quite some time, hadn't it?
It has. These 2 lots were constructed in 67 and 73.
I used to go by there quite a bit in my previous life, but I hadn't been over lately. But being what I've seen over there, I think it's a great thing that the owner's willing to improve it, and it'll be an improvement for the community. So I would be in for it, given how much improvement it needs. And I'm excited that they would be about to improve those duplexes.
I'd echo that as a representative for that ward. Some of these, we need to encourage any kind of improvement that we can make in this area. I mean, it's a great opportunity for folks to redevelop this area. There's a good opportunity, and as been stated, that it sounds like the only delay, the reason we got a planning department recommendation and then the commission denied it based on a future study that may end up putting us in the same place. I think it's advantageous in our duty to the public not to delay property owners. If that's the end, if we're going to get to that path at the end, why delay it? That's unnecessary. So I'd ask for support on that.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
For the residents that do live in that area, I mean, what, did they come before the commission or anything to, I mean, to the,
Any citizens' comments?
yeah,
What you're-
any type of
during the
citizen
planning
comments or
commission?
anything?
I can't recall that we had any participation in the public hearing.
But there was a public hearing though, correct?
Oh, sure, yes.
That's the only question I have.
I do not have that noted in my notes here. Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry. There were no citizens during the public hearing.
When you say it will probably, it will probably be rezoned to MDRD, how confident are you in that word, probably?
I am pretty confident that the duplexes along Summerhill will be rezoned to MDRD. Now, the ones adjacent to that, on the east side of that, I am less confident in that those will change.
I'm a procedural guy, but I do certainly appreciate you, as a developer, putting an investment into the improvement of this property. I do like the procedure of having a study and having clear information about a long-term direction. However, I'm going to, I'll be willing to see this with the anticipation that your zoning study will make it in compliance with its neighboring properties.
Well, and I'll piggyback that, Bob. You know, I appreciate the notion of not trying to cherry pick areas to and I'm going to avoid saying spot zone. You know, but instead of cherry picking, but being adjacent to current MDRD and, you know, a probable recommendation by staff, well, a recommendation by staff to approve this, and a probable, you know, probable rezoning suggestion from staff for these 5 lots. I mean, it's just not a stretch. I don't mind going ahead and trying to encourage that redevelopment under those circumstances.
All righty.
The discussions that we've already heard here tonight, I appreciate it, and y'all have swayed me, and I will also be supporting this.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. We'll do the roll call now, Lindsay.
Parsons,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, item 9C is a request to amend Article 2 definitions, Section 203, Article 5, detailed use regulations, Sections 507, 508, 509, and Tables 5-3, 5-4, 5-5, 5-6, 5-7, and Article 6, signs, Section 60504 of the City of Auburn zoning ordinance to add new language relating to downtown design standards. This process is the outcome of a request of the council to the Downtown Design Review Committee and the Planning Commission to modify downtown regulations to encourage better design in the downtown core. Unanimous consent is necessary and a public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing and hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Is there any discussion or questions from the council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer an amendment. I move that to amend structure height in tables 5-3, 5-5, 5-6, and 5-7 to only allow the parapet to be an additional 4 feet of height.
Second.
Okay. Megan, I want to make sure I handle this the right way. So Mr. Griswold has offered an amendment. We do have a second on that.
Correct?
My next step is
Discussion on the amendment.
discussion. Okay, all right. so-
And on the amendment only.
Okay, all right. So
And
at
if
this
anybody
point-
would like it, there's a marked up copy that I could share with you.
Yep. So at this time, we will have council discussion regarding the amendment and the amendment only. Okay?
You have to turn a few pages in your amended document just because it's in the tables in the back, but that's the ordinance with a red line strike through for you.
And let me elaborate on the rationale for that. As we all know, building height is an emotional topic downtown. We've gone from 65 to 75 to who knows what, and we've had parapet height added onto that in the past to allow 4 feet. And it seems like we're continuing to inch forward. And this makes it a parapet of 6 feet if we were to pass this as recommended to us. So I would oppose any additional height. I know the folks that fought about building height there, they would have objected to a single inch, much less another 2 feet. And the Planning Commission, when they went from 65 to 75, went through some theatrics and brought a 10-foot pole and said, look, can you really tell the difference? Well, I'm not going to bring you a 2-foot pole. Y'all can figure out what that is. But if you're looking at it from the street, you're not going to see something on top of a roof with a 6-foot parapet that you wouldn't have seen with a 4-foot parapet. So I don't really see much difference there. And so it's an objection to overall height creep, if you will, throughout the downtown sector. And
Ms. Crouch, can you give us,
tables,
I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
These 4 tables that are referenced
Okay.
are the specific places where that would change.
Okay.
It would just remain as is rather than adding an additional 2 feet.
First of all, I really appreciate all the effort of so many people in our community to get us to this point. This was such a combination of citizens and stakeholders and people that are in this industry, along with our great planning staff, our planning commission, and the downtown design review team. Spent lots of time. There were public hearings held, and I just want to say generally I'm very grateful for the concerted effort to look at these changes. Ms. Crouch, can you give us, or maybe Ms. Robinson can give us an idea of how we got to this 4 to 6 foot on the parapet, and what was the reason for that? What was the need for that?
I'll have Katie go into additional details in just a minute. I think it's important as an outcome of this process that the understanding and underlying theme was the Downtown Design Review Committee is tasked and importantly tasked with helping to implement the downtown master plan and to improve design of buildings. We have larger and taller buildings, and there's been quite a bit of discussion about the design of these buildings, and their main focus was what could we do to change the zoning ordinance, as well as create new design standards that are asks, they're not musts, to improve design of buildings. And I can tell you, I'll have Katie go into much more detail about it from the planning lens, but I was a member of the Downtown Design Review Committee until I became city manager, and sitting in there, their only goal was to improve design, and this parapet change has everything to do with requiring a variation in a roof line and giving people an additional 2 feet to do it. It's not 2 feet of habitable space, and it's not 2 feet of space that eliminates usage of the building to the 75 feet in height. What it is an inexpensive way to get better architecture on these buildings and to have better variation in the roof lines, but I'll have Katie provide more detail.
Well, and if I may jump in, let's get a definition of a parapet wall. I'm a
That's a great stopping point,
we're
Jay.
talking about the cap of a flat roof that's there for decorative purposes or to hide perhaps rooftop utilities and that sort of thing.
You've got your planning degree, Jay. That's very good.
I've been around for a little while, but I mean, I just think it's a good note to at least explain what a parapet wall is.
Yeah, Katie, go ahead and please.
Sure. So you are allowed to have an additional 4 feet of our decorative cornice or a parapet just to extend from the flat roof that's typically in an urban environment to, like you said, shield mechanical equipment or to add variation in the roof lines.
Katie, it's not actually, it looks like it's part of the facade, but is actually constructed separately and apart from. It is
correct.
attached differently. It is lighter in nature from a structural standpoint, so it doesn't mess with structural elements of the building. Typically used to screen. We also see parapets in non-urban environments. You see them in all of our suburban shopping centers. They're providing variation in the building, but they're also often screening mechanical equipment that nobody wants to look at.
Correct.
Is there a specific reason why it's 4 to 6 feet instead of just up to 6 feet?
Well, the proposed changes is 4 to 6 feet. So we didn't want to we didn't want individuals to think that you had to do 6,
Okay.
or you had to do 4. I mean, you could do any of the above, from
Okay.
75 feet, where it's the max in certain areas of town. You could do 77 feet if you wanted to, a 2 additional foot for a parapet. But that 2-foot difference, I wouldn't imagine is, I think you're allowed a greater product when you have a variable that you can extend. So I think that 6 foot would allow that.
The 4 to 6 is signaling and encouraging the 4 to 6 foot as opposed to up to 6 feet, and somebody may choose not to do one at all.
Sure.
Okay, so that's supposed to be read as the minimum is 4, and then the maximum is 6.
Well, you don't have to have a parapet, no.
Yeah, I'm just trying to gather why, if there's some specific reason why
While we allow.
why it's up to, no, why it feels like up to 6 is this more specific than 4 to 6. I'm trying to.
That I don't know why.
Well, no, okay,
why it
that's what I was asking. I didn't know if there was some specific reason, sorry.
Like I said, I think it's merely a suggestion because, yes, the way that it reads, you don't have to put one at all, but 4 to 6 is a suggestion. And I think we acknowledge it could say up to 6, but yeah, the ordinance that you're dealing with says 4 to 6.
Thank you.
Megan, also, I picked up that you said that this is, even regardless of any adjustments to this language contained in these are recommendations as opposed to mandatory regulations.
These are mandatory. There are recommendations that also follow this we've always had since 2006 Urban Core Design Standards. Many people may not be aware that we have them. We have Williams Blackstock Architects and a committee that Jan Dempsey led, a former mayor, for design standards. The challenge with that document is we can't make you comply with it. It's a suggestion. So there are a number of other things the Downtown Design Review Committee has worked up and will be provided in a guideline style document in tandem with the zoning ordinance. The beauty of these zoning ordinance changes is it is going to be codified if you adopt this, and these will be mandatory requirements.
Okay, thank you.
And this is something that if staff understood correctly, the council wanted some more teeth in design to the extent of Alabama law, and that is what we are producing here.
You mentioned that these parapet walls are not required, obviously, not required. But in theory, anyway, if they're there for decorative purposes and screening of sorts, I think probably screening is the most typical use for these. And I agree, Kelly, that this height has been my mother is right there with the rest of them, and an inch is too much. But for argument's sake, I could build a 75-foot building, put a 52-inch air conditioning unit up to the edge of that building, and not cover it with a 6-foot parapet wall all day long, right?
It can't be visible, depends on put it in the middle of the roof. You've accomplished that objective, but the height increase in the parapet has everything to do with architecture, which is we're requiring a better variation in roof lines as part of this, and it was giving people some extra height to do so. But there is no gamesmanship in this. There is nobody gets an advantage from more habitable space.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying it doesn't affect my 75-foot building height. And all it does is potentially avoid a decorative screening of stuff on the roof we don't want to see, is my interpretation. And so, I think...
That you wouldn't say anyway today with a 4-foot one. In most likelihood.
Yeah, in the roof variation, the challenge was when you take something away from people in the name of design, there's a challenge. When you make it easy for them and cost effective for them to improve their design, they will do so typically. And so some of this is also born out of the feedback that from design professionals and property owners saying, we can live with this change and make a better variation in roof because you're finding a way to make it also cost effective at the same time. To the untrained eye, they may not notice the difference, but that's the why. The additional 2 feet is just making that a little bit better, but that is obviously at the discretion of the council.
What would be a reason that we would ever raise the parapet height in the future? I mean, is there a reason for that?
Just to allow the greater flexibility of adding that vertical articulation in the building.
But the people that were making these determinations and talking about this felt like that 6 feet was the right number, and that was, okay.
Yes, there was no argument.
So sum up again, what is the 2-foot difference? What does that mean architecturally? What will that do?
Hoping that it will add changes in the roof line
Okay.
to where it's not all straight across and you've got the vertical articulation of the building to where it's just a different roof line. I wish, well, I don't have a,
But it adds to the aesthetics and the,
absolutely.
I'm just trying to figure out that 2-foot difference.
It just gives them more flexibility.
And it could provide more variation. I mean, that,
Yeah. Flexibility.
So could 10 foot, back when we were arguing of 10 foot versus 75 foot, but that ship has already sailed. Again, we're just adding more to be adding more. You're walking down the street looking up, you're not going to be able to tell if there's a 2-foot difference or not. Because right now you're walking down the tunnel of doom when you go down the street anyway, looking straight up. So there's not any real architectural, advantage of having a 6-foot parapet versus a 4-foot parapet when you're having to look straight up just to see. You can't get any cell signal or anything else. So, I mean, the reason I'm adamant about this is because my constituents are adamant about this. We went through years of fighting the previous city council just to see things inch up, inch up, inch up, despite what the public wanted to do. And so to me, it's a matter of principle that, enough's enough.
Any other council members? Anything else?
The downtown committee was they were in favor of the 4 to 6 feet.
Yes, sir, they were.
Ms. Solomon was as well.
Yes, she didn't have any opposition to it.
But did she express support for it or just not say anything?
I don't know that she.
Right, okay, so let's not assume everybody supports everything in here just because there wasn't a comment made in public.
I'm not assuming nothing. I asked the question,
Well, I'm not talking, I was talking to the answer.
Well,
Anyone else on the council? Megan, when the height was raised to 75 feet and the college edge overlay, when was the last time the height had been raised in downtown? When Ms. Dempsey's study group worked, it went from 60 to 66, I believe.
you had aspects of that, then it went to 75 feet, and then it came down to 65 feet and went just the edge, and then it went back to 75 feet.
Okay.
And then years before, when Magnolia Plaza was built and other things, you had taller than that was allowed. So there's been many iterations in downtown. But again, a parapet is treated differently, and it's not here to split hairs, just make sure you understand a parapet does not have anything to do with the building height. It does add additional architectural elements that are taller than 75 feet, absolutely. But it's not considered part of the structure height definition.
Any other questions?
I got one question. Do you know how tall or how high the new Culinary Center is going to be?
Well over 100 feet. I can't remember the absolute number, but it's well over 100 feet. It's 110 or 120. I can't recall exactly.
Well, I understand Mr. Griswold's motion, and I respect him for it. I really do. But to me, it's not right when a private citizen can't build over 75 feet, but the university can build 100 feet. and nothing's said about it. Everybody's just perfectly fine with that. But to let a private citizen want to do it, we want to jump all over them and say you can't do it and talk about the last city council. Well, I happened to be on that last city council.
I know.
And I did what was right. I thought what was right for the best for the city of Auburn, and I had a lot of support in it. Not everybody was against that. Did I catch some flack for it from some people? Yes. You make a decision, you're always going to catch flack, but you got to do what you feel in your heart is right. And I only feel it's right because if you can't tell a private citizen he can't do something but turn right around the university to do it and nothing said. It's just lovely. I don't mean to get irritated, but that just kind of sticks in my craw. The government can do it, but the private citizen can't do it.
I think we're opening up a very large conversation with what citizens can and cannot do in a civilized town. I think with regards to Councilman Griswold's representation of his constituents, I feel I'm in exactly the same place. I'm not having a lot of citizens come to me and say, downtown is rocking, we love it, we love the look of it. I don't hear that. I don't. And my job is also to represent citizens. And without question, as a representative of Ward 6, I'm very confident to say citizens come to me and are very unhappy with the look of Glen and of downtown. What are we to do?
Well, the great thing
Represent.
is, I believe a lot of these downtown design review recommendations are going to provide us better projects downtown. They're going to look better. They're going to fit better with the street. They're going to have better entrances, and I think I believe they'll be better looking buildings. So the overall work of this committee and this commission and the volunteers of the community and the downtown design review team, I believe, is to be commended. I do believe they'll deliver a better product for the citizens of Auburn. The reality is we've got 3 or 4 projects that are there that we all are going to have to live with. But I believe the holistic part of what they've done is going to benefit our community for generations to come.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I recognize the work that went into this and the whole business. I've offered, one amendment to affect one minor part. But other than that, I'm perfectly happy with the rest of this document. So, I mean, this is nothing about the commission or the work that was done or the citizen input or anything like that. I'm very, very complimentary of the work that went into this. So this is just the one amendment. If you want to consider it, fine. If you don't, we'll move on.
Mr. Griswold, it is one specific aspect of a total package,
Yes.
which has been a point of contention in this town, is the height of the buildings. And it's not as though you're attempting to pull apart in people calling me and voicing their displeasure.
Yeah, okay, maybe 2 feet. As Mr. Griswold said, no one's going to be able to notice it, whether it's 4 foot or 6 foot. We hear a lot about people complaining about this town, but our numbers say otherwise. People are begging to live in this town. They're begging to put their kids in this school. We have a fantastic city staff that bust their humps to make this city wonderful. This is a fantastic city to live in. It's a shining city on a hill that people want to live in. They want to live in Auburn. I know it's clever and cute and fun to dog the home team, but this is a fantastic place to live, to work, and raise your children. And I am very thankful. And as Mr. Griswold said, 4 foot, 6 foot, no one's going to be able to see the difference. But the idea that we're just people are going to complain. Well, I'll tell you the opposite. I hear from people that love living here, that want to live here. They love the public safety, the folks that take care of us. They love the school system. They love shopping downtown. They love this city. And it's like we just get into this mind frame of dogging it. And that's not the town I know. It's not the place I choose to live. And it's not the place I have the honor of representing the citizens in. This is a fantastic city. And as Mr. Griswold said, I agree with him. I don't think people will know the difference.
I don't think anybody's dogging our town. There's one component that we're talking about, which is height. I love my town. I've been here 20 years. I love it. I raised my children here. All my kids have gone through the city schools. Fantastic city services. Wonderful police force. Wonderful fire department. We're talking about an aspect of representing the community who love this town on the whole, but have some issues with the height of the buildings in the downtown area. I'd rather stay more focused on the task at hand than the larger issue that I don't think is an issue here. We're just talking about the height of a parapet.
Mr. Griswold has offered an amendment. We've had discussion. At this point in time, the motion would be to approve the amendment, correct, Megan?
The motion is to approve the amendment.
Motion is to
so
approve the amendment, okay.
Vote for it, you're in favor of the amendment. If you vote against it, you're not in favor of the
And Megan, do
amendment.
we need to do this with roll call?
You do not.
You do not, okay. So, do we need a motion to approve? We've got a motion already on the table.
He already
okay.
made a
All right,
motion.
so
It
the
was
motion is
already
on the table.
seconded. Just for
Forgive
the
me.
amendment, not the whole thing.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the amendment, okay? So all in favor of approving this amendment, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
All right, let's do this by,
Go ahead and do roll call
let's
now.
go ahead and do
because-
roll call. So all in favor of the amendment?
Dawson,
No.
Dixon,
No.
Griswold,
Yes.
Hovey,
No.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
No.
Taylor,
Yes.
Anders.
No.
Amendment fails.
Okay. All right, so we're back to the original ordinance here. And we'll open up discussion on the ordinance itself. Comments from the council? If not, is there a move to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Actually, I think you already had a motion and a second. So you just have a vote on the actual.
Okay. All right, so we'll have a roll call. Go ahead.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, we'll be moving into resolutions.
Sure.
We have a resolution of permanent operation this evening, which tracks similar to an ordinance, so we're going to be going through another unanimous consent process. So under resolutions this evening, item 10A1 is a development agreement between the City of Auburn and Bucky's Auburn LLC. The City of Auburn, in exchange for annexation and development of a travel center at the Interstate 85 Exit 50 interchange, investing in approximately $45 million, creating an estimated 175 new jobs, and adding a major new component to the tax base of the city, will remit to Bucky's Auburn for a period not to exceed 25 years portions of certain sales and use and fuel taxes to be levied and collected by the city. Unanimous consent is necessary and a public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward on this evening? Hearing none, roll call?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes. This time we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council, please give your name and address for the record. And I'd like to recognize Mr. Stan Beard from the Bucky's Company, if he would please come forward at this time. Representing the developer.
Good evening. I'm Stan Beard, Director of Real Estate for Bucky's, and I love this town. First, I want to commend Megan, the staff, Dunlap, even. Great staff, great planning group. I've really enjoyed meeting you, Mayor Anders, and Mr. Dawson, and so I just want to tell you how excited we are to be in Auburn. This is going to be your Bucky's, and so I'm here to answer any questions or whatever. I'm just here to say hi.
Sure. Well, we're proud to have you here. We're grateful that you thought our town was interesting enough and deserving enough to talk to in the beginning. And I appreciate you digging in with us. I'm very proud of the staff that you mentioned. They do a great job for our city each and every day, and this is another fruit of their efforts. But we're very excited about the potential of Buc-ee's being in our community. Very excited about that, and glad to have you here tonight.
Great.
Does anyone on the council would like to ask Mr. Beard any questions or have any comments?
Welcome to Auburn.
Thank you.
When I made mention to my sister-in-law that this was a possibility, she spent many years in Houston, and she about did a little dance on the floor when I told her. It was very exciting.
That's
I'm
nice.
pleased
to
to
hear.
have you.
Yeah, that's great.
I'd like to say welcome to Auburn. We're glad to have you down at Exit 50. I think you're going to be a good citizen of Auburn, and we appreciate it. And one thing I can definitely say, the overwhelming majority is in favor of Buc-ee's. I hadn't heard anything bad or negative about it at all.
Well, we're glad to be your neighbor.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to say that the Northwest Auburn side is absolutely, I mean, everybody is so glad that, you know, and I think it is mainly about jobs. You know, people need jobs. You're offering 175 new jobs, and well, not just the jobs, but the salary. So, you know, I've sort of kind of, once I was told, I put it out there, and I got a lot of good comments about it, and they just want to know when the application process starts.
Okay. So we're proud of the jobs we bring. The folks who work for us are Buc-ee's. That's who makes us successful. It'll be a minimum 175. I would assume north of that. Our minimum wage is $15 an hour. So walking in, you know, high school graduate or not, if you're friendly and can say howdy. And
Howdy.
Yeah, there you go. So to answer the question about, you know, the possibility of Buc-ee's and all that, we're coming. And we usually start the hiring process around 6 months to 9 months before we know that we're going to be opening. And as far as opening goes, you know, we are working towards the requisite permitting and all that stuff. But I understand that, and I have to say this, hopefully it gets recorded for my boss, but I believe in November of 22, y'all are going to be hosting the A&M Aggies. And my two favorite teams are the University of Texas and anyone playing Texas A&M. So we hope to be open for that fall of 2022. So that's, as the world turns, it happens pretty fast. So we're excited.
Stan, we appreciate your investment in Auburn, but your company's willing to be a great corporate charitable citizen of our community too, and we're very grateful for that. That evidently is just part of the culture of the company.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I just got another question. So you work at Buc-ee's because you got a mighty friendly looking face.
I mean, that's why they send me out here.
I just want to say welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your investment. I think it's going to be a great partnership. I know folks in Ward 4 are excited. It's either the 31 different flavors of ices, the wall of beef jerky, and really the customer service. Folks that have been to other Buc-ee's, they mentioned the cleanliness, the customer service. It's just all of that is. I think it's going to be a great partnership. And thank you very much. We're very proud that your company's chose to be here.
Great.
I have a quick question. There are a lot of people very excited about this, and one question I did come up that a lot of people came up to me about was, are there going to be electric charging stations?
Yes.
There are.
Yes.
Okay. I think that is really great.
We are, and I'm so happy to be able to say that so forcefully, because a week ago I would not have been able to. Just so you know, the business of electric charging is difficult to pin down, and we want to, as our whole company is focused on, we want to exceed expectations. And so just us saying we're going to throw out a couple charging stations doesn't mean much. And so we're hopefully over the next weeks to months, we're going to be able to make some announcements that we're jumping into the game. because we understand it's coming, later than sooner, but it is coming. And we just want you to come in and eat our beef jerky. You can charge your car or fill it up, whatever.
Well, thank you very much. We
Yeah.
appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, the public hearing's still open. Does anybody would like to address the council? Please step forward. Give your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there any discussion or?
You had him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I'll retract that public hearing. Come on. My bad.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm probably just sitting back there, fly on the wall, and you didn't see me. It's no problem. I'm Ken Pylant, for the record. I currently reside in Brett Smith's ward. However, I grew up in Tommy Dawson's ward, which is about, I don't know, maybe right up the road. As a child, we leased some property, and I knew Joe Painter, and when I was about 6 years old, he gave me a kite, but I'll digress. The point that I just kind of want to make clear is I'm sure there'll be some people that might complain, perhaps about this, and whether it be heights on buildings or sidewalks or bike paths or duplexes. I think the Funderburgs left, but change is sometimes very difficult to deal with, and everybody has a different tolerance level. But I feel like it's exciting. I came because I felt like there were going to be people here that may not be so receptive. I am so pleasantly surprised and thankful and grateful to everybody here that understands, how big of a deal this is. This is 175 jobs minimum. Minimum pay is $15 an hour. And we should be a city in which that encourages, and a city, and perhaps a better word is a community, right? Not just city officials, not just you people sitting at an elevated height, above all of us, but everybody here in that zip code of 36830, 36832, and the greater Lee County. This is a big deal, and we need to welcome positive change in the same enthusiasm that we've resisted it in the past. And we all know we had some predecessors that pushed some development away and pushed tax dollars and revenue away. And it hurt property values. It hurt jobs. It hurt revenues. Let's change that, shall we? So this is a great thing, not that my opinion matters or is worth anything. It's not worth any more, any less than anybody's. But as a person that has been out there, let's see, for 35, going on 35 years, and played at every creek down there, and the Dawsons did too, we welcome you, or at least I do. I welcome you, and I appreciate you making my property taxes go up. So thank you, Mr. Beard. Y'all got that on record? Good. Tommy, thanks. The bike lanes, Megan, it's very important. I'm going to try to relate this in real quick, but I appreciate y'all looking into that. I am one of those concerned citizens. I'm very concerned about having bike lanes on an interstate exit road. That's very concerning. So thank y'all for looking into that. Tommy, thanks for bringing it up, and hey, thanks for listening.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Sorry I
y'all.
missed you.
Mr. Pilot, can we get your address for the record?
So I grew up at 2010 Cox Road, but I live at 1400 Annalee Ridge Trail, formerly Annalee Drive. Sorry,
Thank you.
Megan. Good
No-
catch.
no
She's
problem.
on top of things.
No problem.
She is. I promise. All right. Public hearing is still open. Does anyone else like to address the city council? Please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Anyone else? I'm not missing anyone. All right. I'm going to close public hearing.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any further council discussion?
Well, I want to just bring up another subject, when we was meeting on this, that I would like for him to, or someone to talk about. And one of the questions that, and this is not a negative, one of the questions that was asked to me was, is it a truck stop? Okay, so, and I think a lot of people who, and he explained that real well. So can you just elaborate on that a little bit so that the public will know?
And please, you're representing the developer. We'll please ask you to come back.
So the answer is no. We are not a truck stop. We actively prohibit tractor trailers from the site. If there's one section of the world who doesn't like Buc-ee's, it's truck drivers, and it's because our business models just don't jive, and so there are no trucks. Just our fuel trucks are the only 18-wheelers that come in and out of there.
So I think that would probably be the only complaint or downfall, if anybody did have a complaint about it. So I just wanted that to be for the record. So those who out there, I hope they heard that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Stan. All right. Megan, do we do this with a roll call? Or do
You have a motion and second. We'll do another roll call vote.
Okay, so we got a
if
motion
your
and
discussion
second.
is
All right.
closed.
Lindsay, we'll go with the roll call.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, moving forward, we have two additional items under resolutions. They are conditional uses that track with other items that were postponed earlier. I'm still going to go through the process, and those items do need to be postponed. Just procedurally, we want to be clear to everybody exactly what happened for the record. So item 10B1 is a request from Gonzalez Strength and Associates on behalf of Hubert Boatwright and Harry and Allison Painter for conditional use approval of a road service use, gas station with convenience store, and car wash, also known as Buc-ee's, for property located at the northeast corner of Cox Road and Interstate 85 in the Comprehensive Development District. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its April 8th, 2021 meeting. The applicant is requesting postponement of this to the June 1st, 2021 City Council meeting. A public hearing is required.
I move to postpone until the June 1st City Council meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion from the council? All right, we'll take a roll call on this.
You don't need a roll call
Don't need a
on
roll
this.
call. So all in favor of postponing until June 1st, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries.
All right, item 10B2 is a request from Gonzalez Strength and Associates on behalf of Harry and Allison Painter for conditional use approval of an agricultural support use tractor supply and sales and repair for property located at the northeast corner of Cox Road and Interstate 85 in the Comprehensive Development District. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its April 8th, 2021 meeting. The applicant is requesting postponement of this to the June 1st, 2021 City Council meeting. A public hearing is required.
I move to postpone until the June 1st, 2021 Auburn City Council meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions from the council? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries.
Mayor, those are all the items of business we have for you this evening.
Okay. This time we'll open up the citizens' open forum. If you'd like to address City Council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. And remember that you are talking to the City Council. You're not talking to staff members. And please make sure your tone is civil. But you're welcome to come to the podium at this time. 3 minutes. Okay. Seeing no one, we'll close the citizens' open forum. Is there a move to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned.